Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Build Value by Choice podcast show. I am your host, Nana Bonsu. I am a certified value builder advisor and the president of Infinite Horizons Incorporated. We specialize in helping business owners increase the value of their businesses while freeing them up from the day-to-day running of the business. You can check us out on our website, www.infhorizons.com/podcast to get more information about this podcast show. Each and every week, we bring on an expert to discuss certain aspects of business that appeals to business owners. This week, we are going to be talking about financial therapy. And I have with me a certified financial therapist, Magdala Adeleke. Magdala is the owner of Financial TheraPeace, LLC, a holistic financial consulting company. She's a former banker and financial management professional with an educational background in psychology. She now incorporates therapeutic tools into financial planning to help her clients process their complex emotions around money and uncover the root of their financial behaviors in order to transform and build sustainable wealth for generations. Her mission is to empower others to achieve a positive relationship with money, achieve financial freedom, and live purposeful lives. She loves traveling, philanthropy, and personal growth. Welcome to the show, Magdala.
Thank you so much, Nana, for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
Oh, that's great. You have a great background. So I was kind of curious about this topic of financial therapy. What exactly, I've heard of most people have heard of psychotherapy, but a lot of people haven't heard of financial therapy. So could you just tell us what financial therapy is and why it's important?
Sure. So financial therapy looks at money from a psychological and emotional perspective. We often think that money is very logical and technical. However, it's more emotional and psychological than anything. So financial therapy's aim is to help people process their emotions around money so that they could improve the way that they feel about it, think about it, and communicate and behave with money so that they could have better overall financial well-being. So we take a step back to look at what's happening underneath when it comes to your beliefs around money to help you understand your financial behaviors.
And how exactly does the process work, this process of financial therapy? How does it work?
Well, I would say a financial therapist is either like a mental health professional or financial professional, right? So it could be a mental health professional who realized that, okay, money issues is very common, right? When they're dealing with their clients and they decide to get training on the financial part so they could understand money better. And it could come from a financial professional who realized that a lot of their clients have some extreme, complex emotions around money. And although they understand, the nuts and bolts of finances, but they're not well versed in the emotional side. So then they may get training on, some mental health competencies so that they could understand money better from an emotional perspective. So the combination of these two help you to understand money and a little bit of psychology so that you could help your clients improve their relationship with money.
Great. So most business owners who this podcast show targets, they're used to money, they've seen money. So why would they still want to talk to a financial therapist? Because we have business owners in different phases of their journey. Some are still in their, actively in their business, and some are looking forward to transitioning out of their business. And they may come up on if they transition, if they sell their business, they will come up on a lot of money. And we've seen situations where a year after they exit their business, they can fall into depression and other negative emotions. So how does your practice and your process help business owners in the different phases of their career?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And it's really common that, like business owners or really people in general, when they have a big life transition, especially when they experience a windfall of money, then they're not prepared to deal with it. And it has nothing to do with their skill level and their intelligence. It's because of the extreme emotions that are involved. So I would suggest to prepare, to plan that you're going to be feeling things that you probably didn't expect, or those feelings may change over time, right? Maybe at first you're excited that, like you've sold your business and you're transitioning into a new life, but then later on, then you might start feeling fear, right? Like, what am I doing? What's happening here? Then there might be grief, right? Grief for that transition from who you were before when you were the owner of that company, and now you're no longer in that position. So there's so many emotions that will come to play, and sometimes you can't even predict which emotions you will feel and when. So to prepare by knowing that, okay, this is going to happen, right? And I'm sure as you're a business owner, you'll have all of your advisors, right? You'll have your attorneys, your tax professional, your financial advisors, you'll have all these other people, but I would suggest to also add a financial therapist or a therapist to the mix, right? So that you have someone that you could talk to about those emotions. And when you come to them and you tell them, yeah, I know I have $10 million, but I feel so fearful. And that person can understand what you're going through, and they could help you process those emotions. So knowing that, like you will be feeling this way, and having a plan in place and an advisor that's going to help you process those emotions will really help you to make better financial decisions and to really feel more peaceful with that transition.
What misconceptions and mistakes do you see business owners or people who come up with, who are associated with a lot of money? What are some of the misconceptions and mistakes that you see them do, and how does that hurt them?
I think the biggest misconception that people have around money is what money really is, to be honest. We all have these views around money that were created by our experiences, right? So when you say, what is money? If you say that to someone, everyone's going to say something different, right? Oh, money is good, or money is the root of all evil, or money is for the greedy, or you have to work hard for money. So we all have our own beliefs around money. However, money is really neutral, right? It's just a tool, and it's not good or bad. It's a necessity. It's essential because we need it to live life. We need it to, improve our well-being for this world to go around. But money in itself, it's not good or bad. And once you understand that, then you know that you could free you from all of that extra emotions, right? That comes when you're dealing with money. And so knowing that it's just neutral, like you could use it for good or evil. It's your choice, but that comes from the person, not from money itself. Right.
Now,
So that's what,
yeah,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Yeah. So that's, I think, the biggest misconception that we have around money. And the second one I would say is that we think money is more technical and logical than it really is, right? Money is more emotional, like 90%, right, of our financial behaviors is based on our emotions than it is based on logic. So we think we are, and to us, we would say, yes, I made a logical decision when I, decided to do this. But in reality, it's our emotions that are driving it, our behaviors and our decisions. And we're not even aware that this is happening, right? It's happening in the subconscious, like all underneath the scene. And we're just operating within a blueprint and a script that's been created for us since our childhood.
Yeah, so I guess, do you try to peel the onion, because a lot of people sometimes have difficulty coming to grips with certain submerged emotions, especially around finances.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the bravest step, to decide if you want to dig a little deeper, to explore what's underneath, because it could get very emotional, and to be willing to be vulnerable and honest with to yourself about your past, and to explore that, it takes a lot of courage. But once you actually take that step to uncover what's happening underneath, what's running the show, then freedom is at the other side, right? And you understand yourself better, you understand others better, and that would help you to make wiser and more constructive decisions, and to be in more control of your emotions and your decisions.
one of the a couple of psychological things that tend to happen around finances and money is a lot of business owners go into business because they want to be their own boss or they aspire for freedom and financial independence.
Mhm.
However, so the business becomes the vehicle to achieve that. However, so two things can happen. One is that they achieve the financial independence, yet they don't feel fulfilled, um, especially if they transition out of the business and they don't feel like they're significant. Nobody is coming to them for advice or to solve their problem, or the friends that they've made, right, are in the old business that they've sold. The other thing is the other thing is um, when it comes to so let's tackle that first, which is that um, how do you see this whole concept of using business as a vehicle to attain financial independence and freedom, yet being disillusioned once you've built that business, and either you have people that zap your energy when you're in the business, or when you come out of the business and you feel like you feel empty because most of your identity throughout your career has been tied to the business that you created.
Yeah, that's a very good question because um, a lot of times we think that our self-worth is tied to monetary success, right? And we work hard for it because that's what we've been told our whole lives. And to a certain extent, it's true, right? We all want to have financial success because it affords us the lifestyle that we want. However, that's not all, right? And the key is to do the inner work to figure out what are your true needs, right? Like what are you trying to fill within you? And money in itself is not going to fill all of that void, right? And so to figure out what are you really trying to achieve? What is truly important to you? And that's one of the things I tell my clients when we're doing goal setting. It's not the goals that we think we should achieve. It's not, like the cars, the homes, and all of that, right? That might be a part of it, but really, what are you searching for? Right? Like, what is true financial freedom to you? Is it to be able to work from home when you want, right? So that you could, I don't know, be home with your kids more or pick them up from school? Is it to be able to vacation whenever you want and work from wherever you are in the world? Like, what is true freedom to you? And to describe and define it based on your true values and not what the world is saying. I think if you have that, right, and you have a really good idea of what your core values are and you're filling those true needs, then you will feel fulfilled when your business makes money, even when things aren't going so well, because you already have those other things in place that are bringing you joy and that are fulfilling you in your life. So it has to be a balance.
Great. What are some of the biggest objections that or hesitations that you see from people enrolling in financial therapy? Because, for instance, some people, the word therapy may mean something else to them. So, what could you share with us? What are some of the biggest objections that you come across for people? Why people hesitate to get involved with financial therapy?
I think the biggest thing is they don't even know what that is,
Okay.
right? No one is Googling, hey, I need a financial therapist, right? Like it's just not part of our world. It's not so common yet. So people are not even aware of this. And this is why I'm so grateful for this opportunity to really educate the world on this new field. It's very new. And to tell them that there's more to money than just like the nuts and balls and the technical part, the budgeting and expense report, there's more to it. So I think people need to just know that this is an option for them and what it is, that it will help them to explore their emotions around money. So once they're aware that this is an opportunity for them, it's getting them to see the value in exploring that part, right? The emotional part. Because most people may think, oh, I just need more tools. I just need a better advisor. I just need better returns. But I want people to realize that those are great, but to find true peace around your money and to really take control of those emotions is to explore your money mindset and to understand how it was all created and what blueprint that you're working with that is, like that is governing your financial life.
What was the big epiphany that you had, or at least the industry had, that precipitated this whole new field of financial therapy?
I would say perhaps is realizing that despite how much money people were making, that we're still not financially stable and we're still not accomplishing our goals. We have the willpower, we have the intelligence, we have the income, but yet we're not seeing the results that we should, right? There's a book called The Psychology of Money, and it talks about like money or finance or investing is like the only field where you can be as educated as possible. You could have an MBA from Wharton and still not do well financially in your personal life. You may be like the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, but that doesn't mean that you're going to have true lasting wealth in your life. Whereas someone else who's making $30,000 a year, who has better behaviors around money, could turn into a millionaire, right? Like it doesn't happen in any other field, right? You cannot, like if you don't have the education, you cannot go and perform brain surgery, right? But in finance, anyone could make it, right? Anyone could become a millionaire and could be financially stable because it's all about the behavior, right? And those behaviors anyone can learn. And the first step to learning it is to take control of your mindset and to make the right decisions and to take the right actions to help you build that wealth.
And I assume that's what you help people do, because it's easier said than done, right? Changing your mindset, that's not something you just wake up one day and says, switch on, I've changed my mindset. So you have a 6-step process or guide for improving people's relationship with money. Can you share a little bit, give a little bit more exposition on that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you're definitely right. Like it's definitely a process and it's absolutely easier said than done, because dealing with our minds and our emotions is very complex. And it takes time for us to change, right? Something that we've been learning our entire life, just to change that, it's going to take time. And even when you get to a place where you're more in control, like those old patterns will try to rear their heads again, and you have to continuously counter them, right? So yes, going with my 6-step guide to financial freedom. So this process really helps you to kind of cover the basis to get you from where you are today to financial freedom and financial peace. So we first start with where you are today, right? Like what are your current financial concerns? Like what is happening in your financial life as of today, whether it's your work, your business, your emotions, and any struggle that you're dealing with. So we want to get clear on our starting point. But before we go forward, we take a step back, right? We want to understand how you even got here. So this is where we work on some emotional work and some discovery. We look into your past experiences, including like your culture, your community, your gender, your household, every experience that you've had. We want to see how that influenced your, like your financial life. And we want to get to a place where we actually understand your current behaviors and how you operate the way that you do today. And from that point of understanding, we get freedom, right? When you understand yourself better, then it's like, now I get it, right? And you can become unstuck and have that clarity. And from that point on, then we can process and heal from, the decisions that you made that may not have been so constructive, right? Because sometimes when we understand what we did and why we did it, then we start feeling, shame, guilt, like those type of emotions. And we want to forgive ourselves and we want to let it go and we want to process and we want to recreate a new story, right? If you were able to create an old story that was maybe destructive, we could create a new constructive and positive relationship with money. So we work on reprogramming our brains so that we have a new mindset. And from then on, then we start working on goal setting. I mentioned before that we want to set goals that are really aligned with our values, that are really important to us, not what the world says that we should have. Right? So we work on those type of self-aligned goals. And once we have those goals, then it's easier to create a plan to help you achieve those goals. And of course, we come back and we make adjustments later because, life changes, we change, and, it doesn't stay static. So we want to go back and make some changes later and as necessary. So that's how the 6-step process works.
And typically, how long does it take to go through all 6?
Well, I guess it would depend on the individual, but for me, I have a program that's about 8 sessions to try to go through this process. Sometimes it takes longer. Normally it takes longer, but on average around 8 sessions, and depending on the person and the complexities of, the issues that we're facing, then it may definitely be longer. But yeah, but we could start with definitely 8 sessions.
One of the things that you mentioned that's crucial is environment and culture, because a lot of times, as you can see, there's a lot of celebrities that come into a lot of money and they end up losing it all. What have you? I mean, that seems to be really important. And a lot of times, people just do a mind over matter, just try to override it, and then it catches up with them eventually. How big an issue is that, and how much time does it factor into your overall process? Did you take that particular segment take more time, or just want to drill a little bit more into that?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that people in those situations, they make so much money, but yet they retain so little of it. It's because they're not ready. They're not mentally ready for that windfall. Right. And they have so many people around them that are just, I don't know, driving them to make decisions that they're not ready for. And that goes back to the preparation part that we talked about. If business owners are making transitions in their business and they're, be experiencing a financial windfall. And it's the same thing, right? It's to prepare and to understand that, okay, I'm going into new territory that I have no idea how to operate in, right? And I guess our natural tendency is to revert back to our baseline, right? And if your baseline is poverty, then you could make hundreds of millions of dollars unless you upgrade your mindset. Then you're somehow going to sabotage and make decisions and take actions that are going to take you back to your baseline. And that's what happens, right? So they say if you have a windfall of money, you should wait a year, wait at least 6 months before you make major life decisions, right? It's almost like give yourself time to prepare, to upgrade your mindset, to do all of these other work so that you're not making rash decisions based on that high that are going to impact you negatively later. So yes, I would say definitely take time, have people in your corner that are going to help you deal with this big change, with the emotions that are, going to arise from that, and to, like slow down, like help you to slow things down so you could think clearer and so that you could change your mindset and upgrade it before you actually make some big decisions to ensure that you actually, like keep that wealth as opposed to squandering it all.
Okay, great. What are some of the last thoughts or advice that you have for our listeners?
Yeah, I just want to encourage listeners to explore their money mindset and to take some time to understand their financial behaviors better, and to know that despite where you are in your finances and the beliefs and views around money, that it was all passed down to you by, like your parents, like your community, right? So most of us are operating with a money story that was passed down to us, right? And we had no control over it because, and they also had no control over it, right? Because it's part of, like it's passed on through generation, and to understand that. But despite your money story, you are in the position to make changes to it, right? You can create your new money story. If you feel anxiety, fear, shame, or any negative emotions around money, you can do something about it, and you could create a more positive relationship with money. It just will take some time and some exploring of your money story, but you are in control, you are in the driver's seat, and you could definitely improve your relationship with money. And it has nothing to do with how much money you have, right? It's not about the amount, it's really about the emotions and feeling like you're in control of it.
That's great. How can people get in contact with you? What's the first step they should take if they want to get involved in financial therapy?
Yeah, they could definitely reach me on my website. It's www.financialtherapeace. Peace is PEACE.com. And I offer free consultations, so we could hop on a call and discuss your financial concerns. And I'm happy to help anyone just deal with their emotions around money.
Okay, that's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate your time, and definitely look forward to learning more about financial therapy, because that's going to be big in the next few years to come. For our listeners, we're going to have this additional information in the show notes. You can go on the website, www.infhorizons.com/podcast. Till next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Nana. Bye-bye.